week 8 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few wide receivers I have as sleepers this week. The first receiver, Chamiri Deke of the Tennessee Titans, out there in 96% of fantasy leagues. And now with obviously Tyler Lockett released and Calvin Ridley, we don't know if he's going to play again in this ball game. And last week, Alec Maynard, he didn't do much in that ball game. I think Deke, he could be a guy that could go out there and be a sleeper in deeper leagues. I know this Tennessee offense isn't good at all, but they're versus Indianapolis that gives up the most fantasy points to wide receivers on the season. We saw all three receivers last week, even though it was a lot of catch-up and garbage time, put up big numbers for the Chargers. So the last few games for Deke, week 5 at Arizona, 2 catches, 17 yards. Week 6 at the Raiders, 2 catches, 8 yards. And last week, a breakout game, 4 catches, 70 yards, and found the end zone. So like I said, this is a bad offense. Calvin Ridley looks like he might be out once again. He didn't practice to start the week off. And Indianapolis, they do give up a lot of yards to wide receivers, the most on the season. But still, like I said, he's more of a way deeper league play this week. Sleeper option where he's going to get opportunity. Next receiver, Jalen Noel of the Houston Texans. So to me, it doesn't look like Nico Collins is going to be cleared in time with the concussion. And someone in this receiving room has to step up. If it's Christian Kirk, if he returns this week, Jalen Noel or Jaden Higgins or Xavier Hutchinson. So a collection of young wide receivers for the most part Houston has. But this offense has been bad pretty much all season long. And now someone's going to have to step up with Collins most likely out again this week. Week 4 versus Tennessee, carry 2 yards, a catch negative 2 yards. Week 5 at Baltimore, 2 catches, 13 yards, a touchdown, a carry 5 yards. In week 7, I thought he had a decent game at Seattle in that one. 4 catches, 77 yards on 7 targets. So week 8 versus San Francisco coming in. This could be a ball game where they're chasing points once again. Is this Houston Texan team. And like I said, with Nico Collins most likely out, someone's going to step up. And at least Jalen Noel looked like a guy who's capable of going out there and making some plays in the receiving room in last week's game. And the final wide receiver I have is a sleeper, Xavier Legette of the Carolina Panthers. Legette had a breakout game finally last week. This week a matchup versus the Buffalo Bills where I think they're going to be chasing points. And he's out there in tons of fantasy leagues right now. In 85% is Xavier Legette. So the last few weeks for him, week 5 versus Miami, 2 catches, 31 yards, a touchdown. Week 6 versus Dallas, which is a great matchup on paper. He didn't do anything. 2 catches, 11 yards. And then last week at the Jets, a big game. 9 catches, 92 yards, a touchdown on 11 targets. So like I said, week 8 here versus Buffalo, the secondary isn't all that great in my opinion. And I think Xavier Legette with the veteran Andy Dalton in their quarterback could go out there and make some plays. And he's a good sleeper option this week. So that's a few wide receivers I have a sleeper for week 8 of the fantasy football season.